Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
News is a little quiet at the moment, but I found something else to discuss that I thought would be really cool. On our Discord, as well as, of course, in comment sections, people often will ask Thor questions, and I'm stealing one out of our Discord. From Cheesehead Caleb. He asked, at Thor, which I stole, because I think it works better as a discussion than you just talking.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the following? I finished rewatching Andor Season 2 with my parents, their first time watching it. They both liked it a lot, but my dad raised an interesting criticism. He said that it felt incomplete or disconnected, that the show never even mentioned Darth Vader. He said that it was fine that Darth Vader wasn't in the show, but not to even mention him felt weird. For context, my dad is very much in the casual fan category. The only Star Wars he's watched since the sequels came out in theaters are The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2 with my family and Andor Seasons 1 and 2 with me. It does bring up some interesting topics, because as most people who are following this channel, we're definitely more hardcore than casual.
Well, I think it leads to an interesting question of, what does the casual fan, want or expect out of Star Wars that you don't necessarily understand or see the point of view from the more hardcore fan?
Right.
Because I understand, if you're someone who kind of watches Star Wars casually and there's a show where there's a chance for Darth Vader, you're like, well, why not Darth Vader, right? And they even said they don't care that he wasn't in there, but, not mentioning him.
It felt weird, yeah.
Yeah. And I do think there was maybe a bit of a concerted effort out of Gilroy and company not to use such things.
I mean they only name-dropped Emperor. They never even showed him.
Yeah, but I feel like there was, again, an effort to not use certain things, which, is that a good thing or was that a bad thing?
Well, consider this. Rogue One brought you Tarkin, it brought you Princess Leia, and it brought you Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Because maybe they thought that the casual fans aren't going to grasp the show unless they're seeing things that they know or remember. Yeah. When you don't have the pomp and circumstances of saying, hey, there's a bunch of lightsabers in this show, or Mandalorians in this show, what is going to hook people into Andor? Especially when they don't have things iconically like Darth Vader, who would have been out and about in that time. He just probably wasn't looking at something so small scale.
Yeah, because I do wonder what it is that hooks the casual kind of average viewer. Because Andor, in and of itself, that the big argument or discussion is it's just a great show by itself. It doesn't matter that it's not Star Wars. So if you're a more casual fan, and I'm not necessarily saying their father, it could be anybody, but if you're a more casual fan and you go into it and you're like, yeah, this is good, but I actually want lightsabers and Darth Vader and all that other stuff, is that actually a hindrance to it? The fact that it's really good doesn't matter to them as much as they just want to go to it for Star Wars?
I just think it's missing some of the iconography that casual fans are looking for. When you say Star Wars, the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, it had Obi-Wan Kenobi. It was the name of the show. You knew you were going to get lightsabers. They promised to bring back a duel between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan. The Book of Boba Fett. Big name, very iconic character. Even Mandalorian, he is looking like a Mandalorian. He looks like Boba Fett. He's all the trailers. He's a bounty hunter.
There's stormtroopers everywhere.
There's stormtroopers. They used the icons that would catch most of the audience. When you see Andor, the show does lack a lot of that.
It uses it more sparingly than I think you even realize, the iconography. I mean, you're on places like Coruscant, but that doesn't necessarily, again, if you're the casual fan, average viewer, you probably remember Coruscant, but being there doesn't necessarily we're on a Star Wars planet. I think you are looking for stormtroopers and lightsabers and TIE fighters, and they're there, but...
And those big names you would recognize,
yeah, and Darth Vader. Why wouldn't Darth Vader be in this? He's around doing stuff. It's the age of the Empire.
Yeah, I mean, he'd probably still be mopping up some Order 66 survivors. He's probably doing more heavy lifting, hunting for Kenobi at this time, for all we know. Where he's looking for bigger fish to fry than a fledgling rebellion that hasn't been working. We even know he was messing with the Ghost Crew at this time.
Yeah, he was. This is pretty much right.
Hunting Jedi.
Hunting Ezra and Kanan.
So the more experienced fan, the more into the Star Wars lore you are, you know what Vader's doing and why he's not messing with Andor. He's hunting Kanan, he's hunting Ezra, he saw Ahsoka.
Yeah, I mean, I think the interesting question is Darth Vader, would him having been in the show, increase the ratings, significantly? Is that what...
Maybe not the ratings, but
the viewership.
The viewership, definitely. I think so. Thing. But maybe there was just some other way to bring something in. Maybe instead of bringing in Darth Vader, you bring in Boba Fett the bounty hunter, and he's helping hunt for rebels.
And then that just feels maybe to
It
the
feels
casual fan
forced.
it feels very forced to the hardcore fan, but to the casual fan maybe that's not forced at all.
Right, because they would be like, of course Boba Fett would be hunting for the Empire to hunt down the rebels. It makes sense. But to people like us who understand the deeper underlying what they're trying to do with the show, it feels weird to just... I mean, isn't that part of the problem we complain about with some of the other shows, is they're just throwing Cameo Fest in, and because they're trying to just see what sticks?
Because they think that will lure in the more casual crowd, and that it appeals to the hardcore fan as well. That it appeases them. Oh, I got to see the illustrious Boba Fett in this show. That's so cool. Which sometimes,
So there's nothing wrong with wanting him to be in the show or wanting him to be mentioned, but I also thought at that time he was kind of more of a quietly used tool, that he wasn't a huge, like, everyone in the galaxy's like, oh, Vader's coming.
No, I don't think Vader was extremely well. I mean, in a way, yes, and in a way, no. I don't know how well the average person has heard of Darth Vader,
or
but I think
Inquisitors in general, or...
Yeah, but then you go to something like Kenobi, and like the Inquisitors show up on Tatooine, and they're like, "Yeah, we know you're Inquisitors." So it's like, okay.
At the same time, do you really expect the rebels are going to run into those types of things? They're trying to ambush the Empire and all that.
I don't know. Maybe throwing Darth Vader or something along those lines in there would have. Again, it would have felt like cheesy fan service to a lot of people, especially with the tone of the show. But maybe that's just what it is missing. I don't know.
Maybe if they would have done something like the ISB talking about the rebel activity and go, is this enough for the to alert the
Lord
Emperor?
Vader,
Is this enough to alert Lord Vader? And then be like, well, no, Lord Vader's got his hands full. He's still hunting down rogue Jedi.
Yeah.
Just to even mention what he's doing so that the casual fan knows,
maybe,
oh, Vader's not going to show up because he's doing other works right now. And then people are like, well, I want to show where he's doing that. Well, it exists. So maybe just explaining where he was, to maybe a mention of him could have been fine.
I don't think it would have been weird to mention him at some point.
I think it could have been very seamlessly done.
I mean, I do wonder, like, if it is actually, like, specifically, like, Vader and some of the big characters. Because you look at something like The Acolyte. It had Jedi, it had lightsaber battles, it had all that stuff, and nobody watched it. So I wonder if it is, like, specifically, like, the more casual fan. And I mean, really casual fan. You know, because there's different levels. Not that we need to define them specifically here. But, you know, that person's like, I like Star Wars. I'll watch it every now and then. I've seen the movies. Like, do they really need that to be like, oh, yeah, I need Darth Vader?
I felt the marketing for The Acolyte was just a little lacking. It didn't, like, it took place before the prequels, but they're like, we're not giving you anything related to the prequels. Here's a bunch of characters you don't know or have no vested interest in. So maybe not having an iconic character. Like, if The Acolyte was advertising that Yoda was going to be a main character, more people would have watched it.
I bet you that does extremely well, and it's kind of disheartening in a weird sort of way.
Could be why Skeleton Crew also suffered on making to the charts, is because who knows any of those people? Nobody.
I mean, does The Mandalorian do well because it's a good show, or did it do well because of Baby Yoda and people are like, oh, it's a Yoda, this is so cool?
It's also because you gave us a kind of Boba Fett-ish character. You gave us that iconic armor that we recognize from the prequels, armor that we recognize from the OT. And go, look, he's going to do crazy cool stuff in it. The trailers and marketing for it were fantastic, and it was like the premiere show on Disney+.
Well, the curious thing is, then you have something like the Solo movie, which did, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it made like $400 and some million, which is actually a lot of money, but for a Star Wars, that's considered a failure.
It's because nobody wanted to see a recast of Han Solo.
Yeah, I was just going to say, is the problem? Is it a recast? If that's Harrison Ford, does that mean... But then we have Indiana Jones with old Harrison Ford that didn't do extremely well.
People were getting just sick of... I don't know.
It's a really weird question, or not
but
weird question.
The shows on Disney Plus that didn't do crazy good didn't have that iconic character. That's what I feel. So maybe mentioning Darth Vader would have helped with the show, but at the same time, unless he's in the trailer and something, you're not going to draw on, more the casual fan.
Yeah. I don't know. I just find it curious to ask the question of what the casual fan wants, because I've had a lot of discussions, especially on my channel, about what is Star Wars, what should it be, what are fans looking for, and it turns out maybe it's just Darth Vader. Maybe that's the answer. That's what the casual fans want. They just want more of what they've gotten before. Why can't we have an in-depth
Darth Vader show? Something with...
I mean,
Darth Vader, the early days in the suit, him battling with his inner demons.
No, I think that would be really... It seems like they're afraid to overuse him, and yet, like, if you go to the comic books and stuff, like he's
everywhere.
Like fourth run almost at this point. So, I don't know. Maybe You just go all in on make a Darth Vader show. Why the hell not? Bring back Hayden. He'll do it.
It would also have to be
go
pretty
in the suit
introspective.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It
would-
can't just be him. It
Tool
can be
and a
both.
saber, yeah.
It would need to be both. That's what the Kenobi series really should have tried to do. It needed to balance the introspect with, yes, I acknowledge you need pew pew for the casuals. Like, you need something like that. Otherwise, they're not going to
Eye-catching.
probably tune. Yes, you need the high candy. You need the spectacle.
And they could easily have that in Darth Vader.
I think
if you
so.
focus on, I know they did it in the comics, whatever, retcon them, I
Yeah,
don't
they
care.
don't. They don't care about
His
that.
early days serving the Emperor, coming to terms with the things that he has done, coming to terms with now he's hunting down and killing people he knew.
Yeah, it would be.
You'd
It'd be
have
crazy
your
good.
lightsaber duels, you have all of it involved.
The problem is it would be done by Disney, so you would. I have the same side because, like, would they be able to get it right? You need to find the right person to do that show.
It needs to
because
be
if
a
you
show
screw it
where
up-
he's still struggling with the dark side and coming to terms with what he has done, what he has to do, fully turning into Darth Vader at the end.
I think there's a million cool things you could do with it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Disney,
I don't know.
we could write this for you.
Yeah, I know. This is the second time we offered to
We'll
do
just
Boba Fett.
we'll pull on the Discord. We'll chat with the other people who are in there. They'll throw out
Well-
some great ideas. We collab something. We give
Yeah,
you a
let's-
basic outline.
Let's just stop right there and let's throw it to the comments. Like,
Yeah.
would you actually want to see that? And go under the assumption that they wouldn't screw it up. And yes, I understand.
We're under the assumption that Tony Gilroy's writing it.
Well, no, not even Tony Gilroy. It doesn't
I
have to be Gilroy. It probably would be great if Gilroy wrote it, even though he didn't seem to want to do Force stuff. But would you actually want to see that, assuming it was done well? I mean, or are you like, nah, we don't need any more Darth Vader? Like, yeah, give us a Darth Vader show. Why the hell not?
Why not? You're gonna give us a Kenobi show where they battle. Let's just have
Yeah.
a Darth Vader
Yeah,
show.
going around, half introspect, half him going around killing old friends.
Call it like the Origins of Evil.
Yeah, you can call it a
Something
lot of
crazy
things.
dark like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be called Darth Vader.
Anyway, that's going to be all we got for this time. Now it is your turn to take to the comments below. Tell us what you think about our discussion and the idea of a Darth Vader show. Whatever the case may be, leave those comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.